sprint runs do not make me excited, they make me sad. So Spyderco are one of my favourite knife companies. This is a Spyderco Rex 45 Para 3. It's not mine. This isn't a terrible example of a sprint run because these were available fairly widely. You can still get some of these on eBay for a little bit higher than the original retail price. The sprint runs that I don't love, that I'm seeing a lot of, are the ones where they are beholden to specific retailers and usually involving jumping on that specific retailer's website and mashing F5 at a certain time of day, hoping you can jam as many of them in your cart as possible, and then if you miss out, either complaining that you missed out or jumping on the secondary market and buying them for at least 30% more. I don't love what this makes us knife folks do to each other, and it is artificial scarcity of materials that are not uncommon. In the age of Benchmade on their website having an ever-expanding, it started off small but it's getting better, custom section where you can choose a knife pattern, choose your blade material, choose your handle, there isn't really much cause for this sort of thing to be going on anymore. I would suggest that Spyderco, perhaps being a slightly smaller company than Benchmade for sure, could certainly still secure volumes of steel and volumes of coloured G10 to be able to make knives at customers' request. And then of course, if there are more popular steels or volumes of colours of G10, they could order those in greater volumes next time. Perhaps they could have some sort of waiting list. For me, it is the not knowing, it's the chaos of it that really puts me off. That's my opinion, and I don't think there's much that can change it. And in fact, every other week you see a story like this. I think most recently the Tanto Paramilitary 2 on as a Blade HQ exclusive. I mean, good for Blade HQ, I guess, but it's not particularly a rare thing, a Tanto grind on a blade. I'm sure that as they're teething the process out of, they've made the knife before, I'm sure they're trying to make them well and perhaps make them a bit slower. But it's obviously a knife that enough people wanted for there to be demand. And I know these are all just knives that we're talking about and it's not life-saving medicine, but when you're sort of okay with a lot of your fan base being in a bit of angst about not being able to get one, when it's something that's made of your standard materials, your standard pattern, and it's just a different grind, it just seems a bit disingenuous to me and just not the most respectful thing to do to your fans. That's all I'm saying. For me as well, I have issues with sprint runs. I feel like the majority of people who buy sprint runs are collectors, and generally the subject of the sprint run is a flash steel, a really flash steel on a knife, and a different handle colour. I would probably wager that about 90% of those sprint run bought knives never see the kind of use that even this Rex 45 Para 3 has seen, which is just knife testing rather than earnest knife use. I've never actually carried this particular Para 3 as my EDC, I just have used it for a couple of rope tests. Even this is probably like a grizzled war veteran compared to most other sprint run knives. So then you've got basically a lot of folks with these expensive sprint run knives at home, they only really know that they're the sprint run because of the steel branding on the blade and the colour of the handle. I would argue that if you swapped out the steel and all the sprint runs of Spyderco to 8CR13 MOV without changing the label overnight using some kind of sorcery, most of the folks wouldn't even notice. Whole thing just fries my brain just a little, and as a YouTube guy who talks about knives, the whole joy of me talking to you about a knife is that it's something that if you like it, or if you like how it looks, you can go buy it yourself, or go experience it, trademark zero tolerance, and report back and see if you had the same feeling, or talk to other people in the comments and see if you liked it too. Sprint runs in such limited quantities that people are stepping on each other's necks to get them just does nothing for me. EDC issues, it's another one of mine. What do you think, Bricky?
One of the more elaborate ways of bitching about missing out on a luxury item I've seen in a while. Like my father Brickard used to say, the best knife is the one you have shoved between Pate's ribs.
He humbles me as ever. So there you have it, sprint runs, don't like how they run, I think they're too chaotic. I think they should just do either year-long batches or have a custom shop on their website. And also I think that having them as such rare options makes them so much less likely to be actually used by people, so therefore people will be enjoying these wonderful steals a whole lot less, and these wonderful steals can actually do some great things for people, which may never even be realised because they'll be locked away in a drawer because they are rare. That's my thoughts on sprint runs. Bye bye.